Wikipedia defines pidgin or pidgin language as a grammatically simplified means of communication that develops between two or more groups that do not have a language in common. Typically, its vocabulary and grammar are limited and often drawn from several languages. It is most commonly employed in situations such as trade, or where both groups speak languages different from the language of the country in which they reside. Fundamentally, a pidgin is a simplified means of linguistic communication, and it is constructed impromptu or by convention between individuals or groups of people. A pidgin is not the native language of any speech community, but instead learned as a second language. So, what is language itself? Language is the principal method of human communication consisting of words used in a structured and conventional way and conveyed by speech, writing, or gesture. It can simply be termed as a system of communication used by a particular country or community. If this last definition of language is anything to go by, why? And I ask again, why is pidgin not considered a full-blown language? Why do linguists, even in the countries where these pidgins are being spoken, trash them as not standard languages when they are armed with all the tools and ingredients that any language contains? Could this be termed as linguistic bias? My name is Bafu, and I welcome you to BDNP, Breaking Down Nigerian Pidgin English. When Jamaicans speak their patois, everyone loves it. People want to speak like them. Non-Jamaican musicians want to sound like them. You know why? It's because they appreciate and show pride when speaking their most cherished language, irrespective of class distinction in their society. However, for some Nigerians, especially the educated ones, they categorize Nigerian Pidgin English as for the unlettered, low lives, uncivilized, and probably for local people. Really? Some of these stuck-up educated Nigerians that I spoke to think Nigerian Pidgin English lacks guidelines, rules, standards because of its mixture with some of the indigenous languages in the country. They went further to say the language is often associated with thugs, illiterates, uneducated, and the likes. For this reason, it is considered a vernacular and so discouraged in schools and public institutions. Believe it or not, some of them confuse Pidgin English to broken English, not knowing that the former, which is Pidgin English, is an actual linguistic system. Although it is a simple one, its creation is attributed to when people speaking two different languages need to communicate, meaning it is defined as a mixture of two or more languages that its vocabulary comes from the socially dominant speakers, while the grammar is influenced more by the socially dominated speakers. Although the latter, which is broken English, is not a formal system, it's just not being able to speak English well enough because it's not one's native language. Well, I've got news for you. Long gone are those days when Nigerian Pidgin English is associated with unlettered people. There are many pidgins that have English as a source of language, and Nigerian Pidgin English is one of them. They have rules, and their speakers speak similarly. Nigerian Pidgin English has been researched on by scholars in different universities all over the world, for those who don't know. As regards that part or that claim that it lacked structure as a language, that is absolutely not true from a linguistic perspective. A visit to BBC Nigerian Pidgin, where one reads well-written articles in Nigerian Pidgin English, will debunk this claim. Let us not forget that the rules, guidelines, and standards that English enjoys today were acquired through back-breaking hard work of linguists and language experts from non-English and English-speaking countries. Most importantly, English went through a lot of transformation from French, German, Latin, Asian, Greek, and other European languages. Its orthography, spellings, and pronunciations were combined with the adoption of various foreign languages before we got to what we call and speak as English language today. And here is the thing. People will frown and look strangely at anyone who writes or speaks the Shakespearean or biblical kind of English today. If you know what I'm talking about, nobody says thou, this, the, nay. Nobody speaks like that. Need I add that if English language could go through such changes, radicalization, and survived, I see no reason why that cannot happen to any kind of pidgin around the world, Nigerian Pidgin English inclusive. For the records, English language that Nigerians use officially is borrowed. Borrowed. It is high time Nigerians and Africans started embracing and propagating what is their own to the outside world instead of relegating it to the background, like they do to Nigerian Pidgin English and lots of other things that are African. So who says Nigerian Pidgin English or any Pidgin language cannot be taught with rules and guidelines in a more structured way? I give it up to these young Afrobeats musicians. They have carved a niche and registered Nigerian Pidgin English to the world through their music. I also give it up to Nollywood actors and actresses with their movies, which they have also used to sell Naija Pidgin to the world. I would advise the rest of us to play our parts. And for those who still don't want to speak Pidgin because they feel Nigerian Pidgin English makes people think less of you, that it is for the uneducated, uncivilized, and probably local, I would advise you to wake up, join the bandwagon, and be proud of what you've got. My name remains Bafo. Peace is in.